It is November 29, 1969, and 30-year-old Helen Puttock is dancing the night away at Glasgow's Barrowland Ballroom, affectionately known by locals as the Barrowlands or the Ball. It's one of the city's most popular venues, and tonight is no exception. The place is hopping. Helen is there with her friend Margaret, celebrating Margaret's birthday. The two women had taken the number 47 bus downtown from their home in Partick, and after a few hours of dancing around midnight, they hail a taxi back home. As the cab pulls up outside Helen's house, another woman, 29-year-old Jean Armour, steps out. She lives with her sister Helen and their parents in a large house at the end of the street. She had taken the same bus into town but got off a few stops earlier than Helen and had walked to the bar from there. Over the next few days, headlines would scream that both women vanished into thin air, but right now, it feels like just another Saturday night. Jean thanks the taxi driver for the lift and heads up to her front door. She's soon joined by Helen, both sisters laughing about how full of beans Margaret was, how she insisted on dancing until the very last song. Jean opens the front door and switches on the light. She and Helen take off their coats and prepare to go to bed. But first, as was their habit, they check the newspapers, a few inches of which are dedicated to the unfolding events in Ireland, where civil war has been raging for almost 3 years. There's also mention of the Beatles' latest single and the England football team's victory over Scotland at Wembley. Then, in the personal columns, Jean sees an advert placed by the family of Patricia Docker, a 21-year-old schoolteacher who has been missing since January. Her picture stares out at Jean, a ghost from a past she can't quite remember. She turns to Helen and says she must have read about this case in the national papers, the kind of stories that rarely made it into the local press. Helen agrees, and together they remove the advert, placing it instead on their makeshift ironing board, a sort of morbid notice board. They discuss the case briefly, wondering if Patricia could have run off with a man or maybe fallen in with a bad crowd. Then the conversation moves on to more cheerful topics, and both women soon retire to bed. When Jean awoke the following morning, the advert was gone. Helen must have taken it down during the night. That afternoon, Jean takes the train into town to meet up with a friend. On the way back, she walks past Barrowland's Ballroom and continues on to Helen's house, noticing on the way that the Docker family's missing persons poster has also vanished. And so it goes, day after day, week after week, until February, when police find the bodies of Patricia Docker, Jemima MacDonald, and Helen Puttock, all strangled with their handbags missing. All three had been killed in the same way, and all three had been last seen leaving the Balmoral Ballroom. In each case, a well-dressed man had approached them, quoting Bible verses and disapproving of married women being out so late. He had asked them for the time and then offered to walk them home. Witnesses say he was polite and soft-spoken. His name they would come to be known as Bible John. The case sparked one of Scotland's largest manhunts, with thousands of people questioned and composite sketches plastered all over the city. But despite extensive investigations, forensic science of the time was not advanced enough to link any particular person to the crimes, and the case soon went cold. Some believe Bible John was a taxi driver, others that he was a military man with a strict religious upbringing. In the early 2000s, serial killer Peter Tobin became the prime suspect due to similarities in his MO, age, and timeline. But no definitive link was ever proven, and Tobin himself always denied being Bible John. To this day, the case remains unsolved and the identity of Bible John is unknown. But his legacy lives on in the fear he inspired, the women he victimized, and the countless hours of police time wasted on one of Scotland's most infamous unsolved murder mysteries. For more on infamous unsolved cases, including the Black Dahlia, Jack the Ripper, and the disappearance of Amelia Earhart,